drama starts. Lap 30, 8 laps to go. Sandobi hoping to take advantage of these lapped cars. Poleski dives on the right side, very aggressive here. This is lap 4. The two Viceroys, Bill Frazier ahead of Matt Poleski. Frazier's off. Frazier hit the grass. You hit that tire wall, your day is done. Well, now it's lap 20. The Williams still trying to get around the Terrell team as he'll go around the left car and around those at the same time. At the same time, he's got the inside corner. Will he ride the curb? Yes, he will. He will get him on the inside. Nuno Maria leading us all into Moss's corner. Look at the beauty as his right side will clip the grass. Oh, a 180, no, a 360. Oh. Who will yield going into this corner? It's really not meant for too wide as it will be Gernald. Gernald will yield. Lots of smoke picking up from that Williams car. He is pushing it to the absolute limit. 26 of 30 now. Only 4 laps to go. He's going to get the run coming out the final corner. He's going to pull up side by side with the leader. It's going to be a drag race to the finish. Who is going to get there first? It's going to be...
Terrifying and merciless are words associated with a trip through the Eiffel Forest at over 170 miles an hour. Racing and winning on the Nordschleife has always been very special, and round 2 of the Lotus 79 Classic Teams Championship will prove to be a special event, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Sean Ambrose, and with me in the booth is open wheel ace Richie Hearn. Twisting and tweaking the dials over there is our director, the Dr. Amjad Yaman. He's got those cameras that we use by the great Dougie Beard, streaming to you live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Richie, great to be in Germany with you today. I know it's on your bucket list of places you want to get to. It's green hell, it's fast, it's demanding, it's really long. But what makes it special?
Yeah, thank you very much, Sean, and great to be here. Honestly, if you don't know what makes it special, then you're probably not a racing fan in general. But this track is 12.94 miles, 20.82 kilometers long, has a grueling 154 turns. We're going to do 8 laps here. There are just some crazy places, long straightaways. It's purposely built or beautifully built for these cars that we're going to drive here. Honestly, the best way to get a look at this, it would take me too long to describe it, but the best way to get a look on it about it is to jump on board our GSRC lap guide.
All right, we've got Johan Orlampi in the GSRC Lotus 79, so let's do a lap around the Nürburgring. First corner up is the north curve, and the downhill braking will make it easy to overshoot it. Now we're going to skip ahead to the important parts of the lap since we don't have time for a full one. A critical set of corners is High Oaks. This right-left combo takes you onto a long, flat-out stretch where you won't be braking until Ehrenberg. Make sure you get a good exit. Up ahead, the Swedish Cross is flat out, but make sure to stay to the left and brake as deep as you dare. Ehrenberg has some good camber, but it's gone wrong for all kinds of drivers over the years. Still, you're likely to see some attempts at overtaking here. Skipping over the foxhole to compression, you've got a blind swing into Outenauer Forst. As the track weaves back and forth, you're constantly slowing the car. Take it wide into the last left-hander so that you can get onto the power early as it veers back right. Later on in the track, once we're heading downhill, you've got to weave through the Spiegel curve and then get ready for miss-hit-miss. Use the apexes like the name implies. Still plunging downward in elevation, you've got the awkward braking for Defense Valley. There's no room to the outside, so be sure not to lock the brakes. Fast forwarding to the bottom of the Great Climb, the Lauda kink won't require a lift, but Bergwerks is as critical as ever. Send it in deep, but always be sure to bring it back in for that late apex and then get on the power early. You won't be braking all the way up the hill until here at Steilstrecke. I've always found it hard to get the car to turn in here, no matter which car I'm in. Be easy on the throttle on your way out to avoid wheel spin, then line up the car for the carousel. It is going to be very bumpy through here, and you really can't get back fully on the gas until you're out of the banking. Once again jumping ahead, let's look at the ice curve. Supposedly it's called that because it takes a long time to dry in wet weather, but I think it's just hard to find grip in general. Stay off the curbs and try to straight line these S's. Make sure to line up the car on the left, and though you still get light over the jump into Flansgarden, you won't get air like most cars do. Double apex the uphill, and then we're going to skip over to Swallowtail. You're slowing and turning with a fast right-hander, but be sure to keep the car tucked to the right for the best line over the crested left-hander. Pretty quickly, you've got to swing through the mini carousel, which flies by much faster than its bigger cousin. Then comes the most important corner on the track, Gallows Hill. Getting through that first bit cleanly is important so that you can get your foot flat to the floor and power your way onto the Darinner Hoa. This thing goes on for over 2 kilometers. At the end of it is Tiergarten. It's just a quick squiggle, but then Hohenron presents a lot more difficult proposition of slowing while turning and then avoiding the tall curbs on either side. The weirdly named Turn 13 is all that stands between you and the finish. So with that, we've now completed a lap around the Nürburgring.
Was just saying there as we were watching the lap guide, I really dig the GSRC time-lapse lap guide, and that is how you get around the green hell. Now, quickly, let's go ahead and talk about the points as they sit here going in round 2. And right now is Journo, our old friend Journo Frisch there at the top here early, 164 points. But Alex Millward has joined the party, and he sits there tied with him right now. Sergio Macias in third. George Lambert sits in fourth, only 18 points back. And Adam Fraser there, one American cracking the top 5 there. And for Scuderia Ferrari, Spasipak. And he is hopefully here with us today, but 5th there for him. And let's go to the team's championship real quick. Again, it's only going in round 2, so things still very here early in the game. Parmalat Racing, Team Brabham there in first right now. That's Journo, Peter Knesny, and Gilles on that team. And you've got sitting back there in second, it's that Scuderia Ferrari Spasipak team we just mentioned. Fraser, Stevens, and Simpkins there. Walter Wolf Racing, Dobie Guerrero, and Alberton. And 6 points behind. So that's, again, we've got a good battle. It's only round 2. Leger Jatan down at 4 and 5th there. Rounded out by John Player Team Lotus. And that is the team standings as we head into round 2. Richie, why don't you tell the fans how we're going to do this today, what the details of this event are?
The race details here is for round 2 of 12. We do have 4 driver drops, so even though we're at round 2, you might have some drivers jump in later and make an impact on the points. There's 2 team drops as well. The race is only 8 laps, only I say, but it's still almost 13 miles around for one. Setups are open. No reason to stop for fuel or tires, though. We're working on our standard 17X incident cap, and we're just using the official iRacing point system.
All right, and boy, I got to tell you, Richie, I sat in a couple of practices last night, and you know, there's a few really good passing zones here. One would think, oh, it's twisty, tight track. Listen, things straighten out at a few spots. Huiken, Quiddelbach, Swedish Cross, Kesselchen, Dattender Ho, especially Dattender Ho. You'll see them approach speeds of 175 miles in the draft as they head down that very, very long stretch to the finish of the industry version of the Nordschleife today. We won't get on to the Grand Prix section of the track at all. That's blocked off, that entrance. They don't even head into there. They'll make a right turn and come right by what is a very, very short pit area. And Richie, if you find yourself needing to pit for anything here, you've pretty much lost any real chance of getting a good finish here, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, if you have to take a tow or something, your race is over. And this really is about, this race is about, you just got to race the track. Don't worry about anybody else. Just run your race and don't drive over your head, because as you can see, there are no runoff rooms, big curbs, lots of guardrail. And so, you know, you just run your race and then just see where you're at. Some tricky sections of the track, as we see right now on the guide there, these guys going through the carousels.
All right, well, Richie, I'm gonna stop because we're gonna go to the grid real quick here. We got to get started quick this morning. Qualifying's already been set here throughout the week. Juha Norlampi on the front row with Leonard Hughes rounding out row 1. Row 2 going to be George Lambert, Matt Wood starting in 4th. Row 3, Adam Fraser, Nicola Kochi starting 6th today. Row 4th, Timu Vascalampi with us, and John Stevens starting 8th. Row 5 going to be Tommy Unhola and Rob Olenek. Richie, take the next.
Yeah, we're coming up to see row 6 here. It'll come up. There we are. Row 6 will be 11th place. So we starting with Nicholas Bucanos. Right next to him will be Pablo Suarez. This is, I think, his first run of the year. Row 7 will be Simon Schultz, and next to him will be Dustin Heroder, Mark Pickford, and Charles Eric Lemelin in the row 8. Row 9 will be Mark Riker and Barry West. Row 10 will be Stephen Workup and Martin Blies.
All right, Richie, and yeah, the checkered flag is out on practice, and cars getting ready to grid up now here. There we go. Row 11, Jean-Francois Bossis, Daniele Gattuso starting 22nd. Sorry about that, folks. Row 12, Steve Sarles, Kendrick Taylor starting 24th. In row 13, Keith Herner. And let's see, that's going to be Cuchel Paranegra with us today. A new name we're seeing here that made the top split here of the first split. Actually, we had a split today. It splits at 45, I believe, and we had something like 52 drivers register. So here we go. Cars on the grid now, ready to go here, Richie. Things will bottle up pretty quick once they get down the hill and get this race started there down in the Honoré. It's gonna get really, really tricky.
Yeah, lights are on here.
All right, and here we go. We're away. We're mean green and underway. Down into the first left-hander here. The field too wide. Most of it going through and getting through clean here so far. They go line astern.
Yeah, very short run to that first corner, and everybody gets into single file. The section's really pretty much no way to go side by side. It'll open up here in a second, but really good start from our front runners. And car's going to feel a little bit better as they get going. Going to take a little bit to get some heat in those tires. The track's a little bit chilly at only 81 degrees. Setup's going to be important. Here we come right up the hill. They used to jump this section, not quite anymore. But going to get our first kind of real passing section coming up.
Juha Norlampi off to a decent start here. He's opened up a little bit of a gap on Lear Hughes. Not too much. Lear actually in the wake of Juha here and getting a pretty nice run at him. But this left-hander, very, very tricky. Got to be careful to keep the car on the track. Don't want to get any of that grass. Juha a little wide. Has trouble. Lear Hughes looking in.
Yeah, got a little deep into that corner and gave the option for Lurl, but you can see how narrow it is. It's really hard to make these pass track winds back and forth. Really, the one true spot is got to wait till almost 3/4 of the way through the lap to get onto that long straightaway, and then we'll just see a train of cars coming up to that section very soon. Well, they come into where the carousel is, and like you said, you've seen a lot of people have trouble in practice there.
Yeah, and that time Lear, with a little bit of a mistake of his own, allows Juha to kind of jump away just a little bit. Juha still seems to be getting it together, though, and I wonder if maybe a little less downforce on that set is what we're seeing right now, and it's making his Lotus 79 just a little squirrely, but the gap continuing to open up as Lear still trying to find his ground here and get things back together. Sitting there in third, George Lambert having a good run, but he's got to watch out. Matt Wood is closing quick, get through the carousel here. So far, most everybody making it through without incident. Things got a little scary for Rob Olenek as he was making his way off the exit there, Richie.
Yeah, it's just, like I said, it's just race the track, takes 100% focus. It's easy even for someone like Juha to, even though he's in the lead, to just make one tiny mistake and your race is over. So you can see him trying to open up the gap a little bit to Lurl. He's about 1.2 seconds ahead as they start climbing back up the hill, very steep. This is another section that's pretty much flat out, all the way up, climbing. Even though it's flat out, there is some tricky sections as they're coming up to it. Right about now, I believe this is about where Nicky Lauda had his accident right there, I believe. And then we'll jump right up into the section where they have that real tricky, the first carousel. Do have a pass going on for, or trying to make a pass there for third place. Didn't quite get it done.
Yeah, Matt Wood took a look at that, Richie, and I'll tell you what, he thought better of it. George Lambert was driving hard. Wood stuck a nose in there, and it was alongside him for a moment, then had to give up. Now Matt's got company behind him. Nicola Kochi starting to find his way here on the Nordschleife.
And there they go, jumping into the carousel. You can see how the car's got. Oh, we do have a car.
Yep.
Off.
Mark with trouble there. Gets the car straightened out, back on track. Let's look at the replay here real quick.
Comes in. This part is tricky because you're going so fast into that section. I've made this mistake many times, and fortunately, everybody gets spotted. He does back up to get out of the way, but he's going to be all the way back.
Oh, and now Rob Olenik's had a problem. A little bit too much of the curb and some of the grass spins right in the middle of the track. Everybody avoiding him. Bunch of cars here on board with Rob. You see him get up on that over the curb, Richie, and
yeah,
not a good place to be. No grip up there.
No, and the curbs are super steep, so the car will bottom out very easily if you get high sided on it. So it's a little bit you got to stay off them. You can't use these curbs at all in this car. GT3 car, you can jump over them. This car, no way.
You can almost rallycross in a GT3 car over these curbs, but not the Lotus 79. All right, well, that actually tightened things up in the middle of the field just a bit with that spin by Olenek. Everybody trying to avoid it.
Yeah, now they're coming to just a nice rhythm section. This is probably my favorite part of the track, where it's just back and forth, almost flat out, and we're going to get onto that long straightaway here in a second. Euro Norlampi's just jumping into the mini carousel, and he's about to jump onto that straightaway, and this is where the draft will start coming into play. The real battle here is for that third spot, though.
Yeah, we'll see if Laird Hughes is actually close enough to pick up any of his toe at all. It's a pretty good gap. I don't think he's going to get any real benefit here from it. And I already suspect that Juha is running a lower downforce set just based on the early stages of the lap. And, man, he's already pegging at 170.
Yeah, and you can see Matt Wood here coming right up behind George Lambert. He's going to make a move, and as he goes to the inside, and there's just nothing that you can do when you're in George's position. Matt's going to have the inside line coming up to this next turn, but it is tricky. You got to get the braking down just correct as you come back over to complete lap one right here.
Yeah, it's so easy to get in there too deep, and it's just so blindingly fast, and you really got to have your markers set there, know where you're going to need to get on the brakes to get the car slowed down. But, boy, that is lap one in the books for our leaders, and it's still Juha Norlampi with a pretty good gap here back to Laird Hughes, who's having a good run, but he's got company. Matt Wood is on his horse, and he once he got past Lambert there on the dot in der Hull, he is really started to mount a charge there on second. So Nicola Kochi still very much a factor here in the front as we run back through the field. Things have spread out just a bit. John Stevens currently sitting in ninth and holding down the top 10 after that first lap. Nick Buchanos.
Do have a good battle here back in the 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th position, roughly right there. Mark Reichert leading a group of cars, including Charles Eric Lemlin and Rob Olenek, coming back from his initial problem. And looks like Rob's going to try to make a move. Nope, not quite. He's right onto the gearbox, but there's nowhere to make a move going to that. That's a ballsy place to try to make a pass.
I was just thinking that, yeah, that ballsy, indeed. And Rob backed out. He already had one incident. He's trying to keep the car on the track here and survive to the end. That is a good pack of cars, though. They've all managed to keep it on track together.
Yeah, meanwhile, Juha Norlampi doing what he normally does, just kind of getting out front, had a little mistake, but is able to keep the car on track, and now he's got a healthy 3-second lead over Lyril. Lyril's kind of got his own issues with Matt Wood now right all over his gearbox. Matt Wood had a good pass on George down that straightaway, now is caught up right to the back of Lyril.
Yeah, Matt's got this figured out right now, and he's, at the moment, playing the patient game here and just waiting for his opportunity. No reason to press. Obviously, he's still have plenty of laps left. He knows he's got a fast car. He knows where he's able to make a really, really good run and make a clean pass without incident. So, okay to ride behind, but don't want to give up too much in the meantime to George Lambert and Nicola Kochi back there, still holding down their own and still enjoying a little bit of a battle at the same time.
Yeah, it's hard to be patient like that because you know if you're faster than the guy, but you have to wait, you know, roughly 10 miles of racetrack to make that pass. And you know you're losing time through these sections, but you just kind of have to. 7 laps to go doesn't seem like a lot, but it's a lot of mileage still we got to cover.
It's kind of like being on the 5 out in LA and being in the fast lane and having someone driving it at like about 55 miles an hour, Richie. Maybe a good comparison.
That's pretty much every day in Southern California. We'll go to P13 here. Good battle going on. And with Dustin Herder, Simon Schultz, Mark Reichert, all these guys.
I actually, because I'm not an ace at this track, man, I like to follow. It helps. And if I've got a carrot to chase, it's generally not a bad thing for me. Maybe we've got some guys in this pack right here at the moment that are just kind of feeling their way through this.
Rob Olenek is passing Charles Eric Lemelin, just made that pass and that was pretty impressive.
Okay, actually, let's look at the replay because I missed it too. I was back looking at that other battle. Here we go.
Climbing up that long straightaway, it climbs really steep, and here he goes right to the inside. It kind of takes you know, both guys to make the pass here. You got to have somebody that's going to be a little bit respectful and not cut you off. So nicely done there.
Indeed, it was. And Lear Hughes up front still fighting off Matt Wood. But this race in the early stage is all about the talent of Juha Norlampi. Still very much in command.
We got a wreck here. Oh, I think it's Barry West. Yeah, he jumped the curb. I just happened to be watching that. He jumped the curb and just sent it right into the guardrail. He's backing up, but I think his race is done. But here's the replay.
Poor Barry.
And you can see, watch him come up here, and you're going to see him turn in a little bit early. And right here, boom. Later.
Yeah, you think he knew it? You think he knew it was done there?
Yeah, it's just kind of, it's all rhythm, and if you just miss one corner, it throws you off in the next one. So yeah. Barry West is in the garage, so it's too bad for him.
Well, yeah, it's hard to see one of our fan favorites, Barry West, out of the race so early.
Yeah, Noah Lampe on screen here. He's pretty much blowing everybody off, just doing his thing. I mean, you can make your own mistake, as we just saw, and crash out. So it's not a given that he's going to win the race as he jumps into the carousel. You can see the car kind of getting off the ground. And so keep an eye on him. But the main battles are a little bit farther back with that in 12th position. We got a full train of cars here with Dustin, Simon, Mark, and Charles, all nose to tail. Also bring along Rob, who's trying to make up for his early mistake.
I could see Rob getting all 3 of these guys on the dot and their hole, and they make their way. We'll see here. Great battling though back here, and you know we talked about Juha and how many laps we have left. Listen, nothing certain at this track. Oh, what Dustin gets out front there, but it was Simon Schultz that makes the big move there off the turn and onto the dot and der Hoe. Olenek sitting way back and now starting to make his charge up. Reichert going to come around.
Yeah, you can see this guy is sneaking back and forth, and the draft is so strong. There goes Rob. He makes his pass. Dustin is going to get passed right here now by Simon Schultz. No, by Mark Reichert, sorry. And he's going to bring along maybe Rob. No. There you go. Just a bunch of passing going down that straightaway, and then they all get back in nose to tail as we start the lap all over again.
Man, oh, and all right, now we're gonna take a quick look at the replay of the pass for second place. Matt Wood finally able to step out and make that move on Lear Hughes.
He was able to be patient, like we talked about. Wait till he gets to the straight. And pretty much there's nothing you can do. If you're Lear Hughes, you just know it's coming. Sometimes you just hope he passes you early enough, then you can get back behind him and then make it pass back by, again. But now it's Lear's turn. He's going to be able to have to hang with him and see if he can stick with him till they get back to that straightaway. But right now, Matt Wood's kind of opening up a little bit of a gap to Lear.
For our oval racing fans that are tuning in today, very comparative to what you would do at, let's say, Talladega, setting up for that last lap. When do you want to get that run down the dot in their hoe? You don't want to make it too early because, like you just said, Richie, they can come back and get you. And that's something we'll certainly be watching when the white flag is out. We come to the checker there. But Richie, I'm still kind of checking in on some of the battles around the track, and we've still got 5 cars really, really tight here on track. Reichert, Hiroda, and we talked about Olenek, who's picked up another spot, and now he is threatening to get around Dustin here.
Yeah, there's two good packs there. The ones we were just watching for 4th, 5th, and 6th, and then, like you said, back down to 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th, roughly. Those guys have been back and forth, and it looks like Mark is separating himself a little bit from that gap. Dustin's got a pack of cars. He's got Rob Olenek right behind him, who's still trying to make up that lost positions.
All right, let's look at Lambert here, though, because I think it may just be a matter of time. I think Coachy's had enough. He's ready to get around finally. He needs to, because Adam Frazier is here and threatening Nicola Coachy, and that pressure, well, I think it falls forward to Lambert here to try and defend. But again, I think Coachy's ready to get around here, Richie. Ooh, yeah, he's loose.
Yeah, I was just going to say, he's trying hard to get that power down as they start climbing up that hill once again. This is a straightaway per se, meaning you're flat out, and then well, actually it starts right here. This is where it starts right here, and it climbs way up the hill, but it is winding back and forth, so it's hard to make that pass. They're bringing along Adam Frazier to try to jump in this mix too.
Obviously, the amount of wing you're using, very, very important here. Every driver has his preference. Here comes the move. Coachy going to try and make it on the outside. He's in the grass a little bit. Very, very tight. Ugh. That was gut-wrenching.
And he goes off a little deep. That's going to bring back both by Frazier and Lambert. So he did survive, but yep, a little hard into that corner.
Let's go on board for the replay.
Yeah, coming up to this section, it seems easy, but you see he clips the curb, and it's just going to get him out onto the grass, and you just got to kind of get off. Otherwise, you're going to get off the gas, otherwise you're going to crash. So good job, and he'll fight to come back. He'll get a chance again. He's right behind these guys.
All right, well, speaking of guys, oh, we got another incident here. Did we miss something? Oh, War Cup. Oh, there we go. Problem for War Cup. We've got a replay of it here on screen. Thanks to our director for catching that. Stephen was running back here in 23rd. The Canadian hits a little bit of the grass, noses it into the barrier there, Richie, and takes an immediate tow, which that's guaranteed to sit for about 7 to 8 minutes to begin with.
Yeah, if you get stuck on that part of the track, your race is over basically. Up front, Nora Lampe.
Oh no! Simon Schultz gets into the back of Dustin Herter.
We were watching this battle earlier on.
Yeah. Maybe Simon wasn't expecting Dustin there. I don't know, but Charles Eric Lemelin caught them as he was coming by. I think he may have picked up some damage as well. Here's on board with Simon.
Yeah, here we go. On board, comes up and just looks like he slowed down a little bit more than he expected, and then here comes Lemelin right there and just clips him.
On board with Charles to see if there was really hard contact. Maybe he got away with one here.
Looks like he just has a tiny bit of damage on his front wing, but he's still going.
Yeah. I think it was a situation where maybe he got a little lucky, picked up a bit of what we like to call netcode damage there. But Charles still soldiering on. Juha Norlampi coming down the dot in their hull. And, well, that means he's about to complete another lap here on the Nordschleife.
We got a good battle here for 5th with Coachy trying to get it by on Adam Frazier. And here goes Adam Frazier around George Lambert. So these guys are going back and forth as they go down that straightaway, coming up to complete lap, laps 3?
Yeah, lap 3. Yeah, and I think Coachy's playing nice right now. I think he's still trying to recover from that moment he had, but charging up through here, he is right on the gearbox of Lambert.
Yeah, this is going to be a battle right to the end, I believe. Unless somebody makes a mistake, they're not going to be able to get away from each other.
I think maybe someone in that group is hoping the other makes a mistake and they're not in the way when it happens. You know, another good battle. We haven't talked about Tommy Unhola. We maybe just look at P8 right now. You know, he's got John Stevens behind him, and Stevens, I don't know if he's where he wants to be on track right now. The qualifying effort not bad, but this is legitimate. And Mukano's trouble early, recovered. He is in this, so there's 3 more cars on track really right here, Richie. I think that any of those positions are up for grab at this point.
Oh yeah, absolutely. As we see, we've already seen some people make some mistakes and take them out of the mix all by themselves. So once again, just race the track, not so much the people around you.
Boy, you know, I'm a little surprised at the gap that Matt Wood's been able to open up on Laird Hughes. Laird with such a great start to the race, and quite frankly, I thought he might be Juha Norlampi's competition today. He's fallen off a bunch. Yeah,
Norlampi was quite a bit ahead of Liril, and now Matt Wood's kind of just dragging it back a little bit. He's only 2.5 seconds back, which is not that much on this track. There's a lot of corners, as I said, 154 corners to make up those seconds. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that. Still a great battle going for 4th place between Fraser, Lambert, and Kochi.
You know, I think the closest battle on track we might have at the moment might be Olenek and Reichert. Olenek is primed to make another pass here, and I talked a moment ago about drivers who maybe had a little bit of trouble. Olenek, we saw it, we replayed it, we had it on camera. Big trouble for him, but he avoids catastrophe, and he's fighting now to get back here into the top 10. Got a little bit of a fight on his hands here. Is Mark not going away quietly?
No, he's not. He is. These guys are driving the wheels off of that thing. As you can see them sliding around as they're on the nose of Rob, trying to chase down that that old school elf camel car. I love that car with that Senna drove right there. That's one of my favorite cars he drove.
Yeah, and you know, we never talked about the weather, but it's not too bad, actually. When we talk about track conditions, it's partly cloudy, 81 degrees on track at the moment. Sliding around, really probably more a factor of how hard they're driving the cars and not really the track or temperature.
Yeah, it's a perfect day for racing here with that type of temperature, but these tires do take a little bit to get up to, and also these cars like the lighter fuel load, so they'll just get faster and faster as we get through this session.
And this 3-way battle still continues. It's Fraser, Lambert, and Kochi
as they jump on in that carousel there.
Yeah, I hope Nicola is not driving scared at this point. He just doesn't seem to have the intensity he had a little while ago, and then before he made that mistake, Richie.
No, he might just be sitting there, just staying in touch. Honestly, you know, even where George is sitting, Adam passed him last time, but you know, if he could just stay in touch with him, he's just going to get back by him. So you almost want to wait till almost the last lap sometimes, and to make that move.
You know, Richie, I was going to try this a moment ago, but let's take Barry West. Let's talk to Barry real quick. So hard to see him go out so early, Barry. Boy, it looked like you might have known that was going to be trouble there. And we lost Barry. Barry disappeared, just like he did from the track. We lost him from the interview booth. Sorry about that, Barry. Come back.
Oh, Adam Fraser's off and upside down. There he is. Just what I said. You got to race the track. He was all alone. I just happened to click on that right at that moment. But he kind of goes off on his own as we're watching a replay here.
I think he got in a little deep there, Richie. It was just too late.
Yeah, he just got in a little. He got a little slide and through the gravel, and here he goes. He's going to upside down, and that's going to end his day. So once again, sometimes just being patient, let other people make the mistakes is going to net you some good positioning.
Now I'm going to give him a 9.2 for sticking the landing on that one.
And then you can see on our screen right there with the leader, you can see Matt Wood is now in the vision of Nora Lampe. I'm sure he can see him in his mirrors at this point. He's slowly getting steady. He's knocked it down 2.2 seconds. We definitely have a long ways to go. We're not even halfway. So not quite a battle yet, but if Matt kind of keeps running those laps, it will be a battle.
Matt has come to race today and come for the win. Juha Nora Lampe, I think this should be a concern for him. Matt's got great pace.
Yeah, he just went 0.6 faster on that lap. So 6:03.9 to a 6:03.2. So he's definitely closing in.
Nicola Kochi finally managed to get around George Lambert. Got that done on the dot and der hole.
Yeah, just like we said, being patient.
Fifth, yeah.
That used to be a 3-car battle. Now it's a 2-car battle for 4th spot.
And with each passing lap, the battles, they kind of thin out, don't they, Richie? It becomes that war of attrition.
Yeah, it does. It's hard to stay in that pack the whole time, but the people with the most patience and the most reserve will win out on this track.
On board here with Lambert. Really get a sense of the speed that you're traveling at around here with these shots over the driver's shoulder. And coming up here, one of the scariest parts on the track for me, Richie, this turn into the left here, always on the limit.
Yeah, it's some cars that corner is a no-brainer, and some cars it is just really tough. So it can be an easy corner or a tough corner, just depending on the car you've chosen. Do have a battle here. Olenek still trying to get around Mark Reichert. He is drafting up behind him, and almost right into the back of him.
Hard on the brakes.
And with the exit of Adam Fraser, move these guys up to 10th, and 11th, and 12th.
Yeah, well, this is, you know, and the good news is that the battle for 10th is just up in front of him. The gap not that far. Oh boy, Reichert sliding it through there, Rich.
Yeah, get a little slide, lose some momentum. Another tricky section here. I kind of try to break the track into sections when I race it, and this is, for me, one of the hardest ones to get right, as Reichert goes wide again, and now Olenek is going to try. There's no way to make that move around the outside, but he's just letting them know he's there.
Yeah, sometimes when a guy makes a mistake, you're really just being held up. You can't get around. There's no place to get around right there. Just like what happened there. That really slowed Rob down. They lose ground to that battle that I just talked about in front of him. Mucanos and Pablo Suarez there.
Yeah, so sometimes you're not really going to make the move, but you just get in their mirrors, and hopefully they make a mistake. But I think right now, if Rob just kind of just stays quiet, let Mark Reichert do his job, and so they can get up to Suarez and Mucanos.
Getting lonely on track here for some of our drivers. It's been lonely for the leader for most of this race, Juha Nora Lampe. That gap now back to about 2.9 seconds. Seems like Juha right now mastering the turns, the top of the mountain here, a little bit better than Matt Wood is.
Yeah, I don't know if Nora Lampe was just taking it easy, just kind of being conservative, and then all of a sudden he saw Matt getting closer, so he just turned on the jets once again to get away. So when they get on the straightaway here, he can't get in his draft.
Well, the forgotten man in all this right now, riding on the podium, Lear Hughes, who's managed to keep car on track, lost pace to the leaders, but still doing a good job of keeping the rest of the field behind him. So, in fact, Nicholas Kochi, Nikola is the next closest driver, and that gap back to him pretty good at the moment. So, short of a big mistake, Lear Hughes having a solid run and a really good chance at a podium here.
I was just watching Nicola Kochi. He was all over the curbs at one section, so he's driving really hard to get away from George. He's setting himself up to maybe hit something, so he needs to kind of relax a little bit and just drive the track. Don't worry about what's behind you.
And I feel bad. There's a driver we haven't talked about at all, and except for when we called the grid, Teemu Vaskalampi. Teemu right now sitting here in sixth. He started seventh. The car's been clean. He's not really been involved in many battles. The battle right now is between driver and track, and Teemu trying to finish this race. It's a pretty good gap to get to the P5, but Richie, it's become cliche. We've continued to talk about it. Anything can and will happen before this race is over. We've passed the halfway point, but when you talk about the mileage that's got to be put in, it seems like an eternity.
Yeah, it's hard sometimes in the position that Teemu's in. He's not quite catching the guy in front, and the guy behind him's not catching him. So you just got to stay within your limits. Don't try to overdrive it, and just see what happens. But he is sitting in a good spot there. That Tommy Unhola and John Stevens, not quite a serious battle, but they're close enough to see each other.
And here they come to the Dottender Ho. We'll see if Stevens has got a little less downforce and maybe get any kind of a run at him here. He's way too far back, though, to really get any whiff of the toe there.
Now you can see in the distance, though, in that pack behind them, here they come down Dottender Ho with Suarez, Mukano, Reichardt, and Olenek all lined up, trying to get that draft.
I think collectively all four of them will be fast, but I don't know if any of them are close enough to pull off a move. But maybe. Here we've got one on screen. Is Mukano's going to take a look here?
Not quite close enough, and a little early in the race to kind of dive bomb him. Suarez did a good job just kind of driving right down the middle of the track and not giving him a clear shot to that apex as they come around to complete lap 5.
Well, it certainly brought all four of them a little bit closer together after another trip down the Dottender Ho.
Yep, 3 laps to go, so 3 more chances down that straightaway. Once again, this section of the track is pretty much just nose to tail. Try not to make a mistake and just stick with the guy in front and wait for your chance next time.
All right, I'm going to ask a preference question here. Would you rather be in a battle at this track, or would you rather be out here by yourself, just trying to deal with your focus on the track?
I think I'd rather be in the battle. I'd rather be kind of following somebody. It's sometimes easier to judge where you're going and your braking zones with the guy in front, but it's hard. It's hard to do it by yourself, like we were talking about with Timo. It's hard to just do 8 straight laps without crashing.
Here goes Mukanos. Gonna take a look here, and I think he's gonna pull this pass off. It's right on the edge.
Oh, that is on the edge. Always gonna try to go around the outside, and Pablo squeezed him off a little bit here, but Mukanos is not giving up.
No, not at all. It's like, oh, what happened? Where'd all the urgency come from all of a sudden? Nick is really putting the pressure on.
Yeah, you go down through that dip, the car bottoms out, climb back up the hill. It's probably the slowest corner on the track is right about there. And nowhere to make a move, but he is all over. He's all in Suarez's mirrors and probably just trying to make Suarez maybe make his own mistake.
Yeah, and don't look now, but Rob Olenek has caught these two as well.
Yeah, he got by right.
He is,
and
he did. And I'll tell you what, right now Rob looking pretty good for the recovery drive of the race, isn't he, Richie?
Yeah, he's done a good job after that early mistake. Started 10th, running 12th right now, and he's got basically 10th place within his view. So he's going to be, now you can see Mecanos is kind of dropping off as far as he's got to worry about Rob.
It was funny when you were talking about following somebody a moment ago. It made me think that there's got to be a little trust involved with that too when you decide to follow somebody. You know who you're following, right, Richie?
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, you just try to, just be patient. It does get frustrating here when you know you're faster than somebody and you need to get by, as we see maybe a pass here for Rob Olenek trying to go around Mecanos. I don't know if he's going to be able to make it as they go up that hill. Boy, that was brave. He just cut him right off. And so sometimes I was going to say you get frustrated because you know you're faster than him. And if you stay behind him, you're going to lose a lot of track time, but it's also risky to try to make that.
Boy, they've dropped Reichert. Mark really falling back quickly here as these three get away. Mecanos, Olenek still being led by Pablo Suarez, doing just enough to keep them in the mirror. But he's got a different driver in the mirror now, and Olenek is hungry.
Yeah, Olenek's on the move right now, and I think he's close enough now if he can just stick with them. They're getting close to Dottington Ho, where he'll get that draft. They're not quite there yet, but they're getting to that section, whereas this is all rhythm. This is my favorite part of the track right here, just back and forth. Not a lot of braking, just a little throttle lift, a little drag of the brakes, and just kind of find a rhythm.
All right, I know you've driven a lot of different cars around this track here on iRacing. What's your favorite here at the Nordschleife?
I enjoy driving the GT3 cars. This car's fun here too. This car's kind of built for this track. I mean, it's a great car for this track, kind of that era. But I do like the GT3 cars. It's a little bit more forgiving. You can kind of drive over the curbs a little bit and kind of slide it around. But they're all fun. I've driven the Skip Barber cars here and the Miatas here, and they're all fun. It's the track that's fun. So anything you drive here is fun.
Yeah, lots of experience here with endurance events from the crew chief standpoint in the Mazda, and yeah, it's a long trip, about a 9.5-minute trip in the Mazda, but it is a blast. And we haven't talked about what times they're turning, but you see it there on screen. They're turning low 6-minute laps, Richie, and that's really, really flying here at this track.
Yeah, that is a fast lap here as they go through the second carousel and go on to Dottington Ho, our leader on screen. He's opened it back up. He's kind of killed the will of Matt Wood there. But as they go onto the straightaway here, I'm watching Suarez, and Olenek's close enough now. He's going to be able to make a move as they come down that straightaway, and it looks like we'll see. Olenek's close enough. He's going to try to grab that 9th spot.
Man, the closing rate in this draft on a Dottinger Ho, incredible in the Lotus 79. Look at Olenek go. And then you hit a wall. Then it stops. It's right there, Olenek. And he's just far enough ahead. He should be able to hold serve here.
Yeah, he's just staying on that inside line, and Suarez has got to give it up. Now there is going to be 2 laps to go. So there's 2 more chances for these passes to be made, and Mecanos now is right on the back. It's brought Mecanos back into the mix.
Pablo held on as long as he could. Olenek finally getting it figured out. Now Mecanos trying to unlock that mystery that is Pablo Suarez.
Now the hard part for Rob, now that he's in front, he has nobody to chase. There's no way he's going to catch John Stevens. John's 7 seconds ahead of him, and so now your focus is going to be completely different, and you have to just focus on just not making a mistake. So it does change on how you approach it a little bit. I'd rather be behind and wait till the last second than be in front, but that's just me.
Hey Richie, remember that lonely guy I was talking about, Teemu Vaskilampi? We hadn't talked about him much. I tell you what, I think he's got a shot here at the top 5. George Lambert maybe looking in his mirror too much, but here comes Teemu Vaskilampi, man. He is he's starting to get this together, and I'm starting to think that top 5 might be in the cards here for Timo.
Yeah, just looking at the lap times, last lap around, Timo was pretty much a full second faster. So I don't know if George had a problem, but George knows Timo's coming. He can see in his mirrors that car is getting closer and closer. So he's got to try not to overdrive the car and just do his thing.
Yeah, and Nicola Cochi, he's got to be careful too, sitting up there in P4. I mean, he's not that far ahead of him. One tiny error, one turn too deep or not turned enough, and he is going to be under threat here as those drivers pressing to get a little bit further up the track. There are still battles to be considered out here, but it is still it's still Juha Noorlampi that has had command of the race since the drop of the green.
Yeah, he put in a smoking lap that last one around at a 6:03.19. It's his best lap of the race, a full second faster than Matt Wood. So Matt Wood probably giving up a little bit and just kind of take the second place unless Noorlampi makes a mistake, which is unlikely. So, but good job by both those guys at the moment.
And you know, going back to something you talked about when we were talking about the race details and the setup of the race, the fact that these cars, the fuel burn and they do perform better when they get lighter, not unrealistic with the distance we're talking about to get around here. I talked about that fuel burn. The car gets significantly lighter every lap, doesn't it, Richie?
Yeah, and it actually just balances out a little bit better. We do have those two battles on the track that are running really good with what we're seeing on screen right now. 6th and 7th and 8th, actually 7th and 8th, sorry. Yeah, Tommy and John. Also, right behind them, Suarez and Mucanos. Mucanos is all over the back of Suarez, too. So, 2 great battles as he's trying to make a move up that hill.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know.
One of these nervous moments in a tight spot, Richie.
Yeah, Suarez did the right thing by just kind of letting him go because he knows that he has a chance to near the end of the lap on Dotney Hole there.
Right, as long as he can keep him at arm's length there, and not a problem. But Nick back to getting back around Rob Olenek. Good luck. Olenek, again, one of the hard charges of the race. The battle between Stevens, Tommy Unhola, still not settled. Unhola driving it hard, but Stevens still in his mirror. And Nick Bucanos having a bit of a loose condition there on the carousel, Richie.
Yeah, I was just going to say just before that all the problems we saw in practice in the carousel, everybody's done a good job, and then all of a sudden Bucanos has the problem. Doesn't lose the car, doesn't lose the position, but definitely gives Suarez some hope.
Maybe I have to get in practices with better drivers, Richie, and no, again, the carousels were a factor. This car will bottom out on you and do that, the wing damage on the left and right there. And, well, I'm sure if we focused on each individual driver, I think at some point we would probably find a little bit of twerking of the wings. Something's happened to John Stevens. He's disappeared.
Yeah, he was right behind Hula there. Send himself into the forest or something.
Yeah. Okay, we've got it. Our director on his toes. He finds exactly what happens here.
Yeah, I thought
Stevens just riding along,
doing his own thing. Once again, you can see how tall those curbs are. So, it's kind of the same mistake that I think Barry West.
Barry West, right? And honestly, Richie, I think that was the same spot.
Yeah, he hit that inside curb and just jumped him to the outside. Now he's in the pit, so looks like he might be out. He is disconnected, so he is out of the race.
And you're seeing there at the top of your screen as we're getting out of that replay, Juha Noorlampi just turned his fastest lap of the race, period, a 6:02.8. And I would say, that car is light, it's fast, and it's got a pretty good driver behind the wheel, Richie.
Yeah, he's a master at this car, so he's got one more lap around this place. Just got to keep it clean. The battles up front, all kind of separated out. Best battle probably is well, Lucanos has kind of separated himself from Suarez as well. All those guys kind of slowed down a little bit as far as how they were racing.
I still think Teemu Vascalampi has got a shot here to make a pass on George Lambert. He's closing on him here at every turn, and once this track straightens out again, I think Teemu's going to have a legitimate shot to draft and get around George Lambert, who's fought hard and had a really, really solid race. After battling up front with the big boys, he has managed to settle down and hold on to this top 5. But again, I think Vascalampi might have another plan. Charles-Eric Lemelin, trouble for him.
Oh, no. Looks like a
out of the carousel.
Just right at the beginning of the lap there, looked like he just kind of lost it on his own. Here we go, across the finish line into turn 1.
Maybe back to the throttle a little bit too much there, I think, Richie.
Yeah, it looks like car got a little loose, and he just kind of got on the gas, and he's still going. I don't even know if he lost a spot, honestly. But
yeah,
he's got some damage, but he's just got to finish this out. His car's smoking.
Yeah, I think Martin Blaze is probably going to catch him. Blaze only 5.5 seconds back, and Lemelin's car is going to be nursed to make it. Going to have to be nursed to make it around. He's throwing a trail of smoke. So obviously big problems for Charles-Eric Lemelin, but he's only got to get back to the start-finish line.
Yeah, I going back to what we were watching, the George Lambert and Teemu, I think you're right. We'll just kind of wait for them to get to Donington Ho. George is sliding the car, just kind of overdriving it a little bit and letting Teemu just creep on in. And I'm sure George started 3rd, running 5th. I'm sure he doesn't want to give up any more spots.
Well, speaking of creeps, Rob Olenek, Nick Lucanos, not really, but this battle has gotten really good. Richie, as Nick is right up on the rear wing of Rob Olenek now, and really these two, a lot of experience racing against each other from the Camel GT Series, Lotus 79. They've been on this service for a long time, and I think they're going to make this one a fun one to watch here right to the end.
Yeah, this will be a tight battle all the way down to the very lap. They've kind of dropped Suarez a little bit, so it's just ooh and ooh. And Olenek goes wide and up on that curb, and it's going to kill his momentum because it's starting to go uphill again. So it's going to give Lucanos some hope.
He might take it, may take a shot at it here. I mean, he doesn't have to. He can wait and just set him up for the dot and der Ho. But we talked about that already, about following somebody and you know, and them maybe slow at the cost of maybe slowing you down. And they're not really got any pressure from Pablo Suarez behind him. I think right now it'll just be more about keeping the car intact here before the finish. Mucano's taking a peek here.
Yeah, taking a peek up that hill. I'm also watching the battle with George and Teemu as they go through the little carousel. And they're going to get on to the straightaway here pretty soon. Sorry, it was the main carousel they went through. A little bit behind on that.
All right, so just a report from the lead here. Juha Norlampi still in it, but folks, you look at the this timing and scoring there at the top of the screen. All of a sudden, that gap is, well, it's got a lot smaller. It's 3.2 seconds now, 3.1. I wonder if this is Juha just kind of cruising here at the end after turning his fastest lap of the race. But Matt is definitely catching him.
Yeah, I think Norlampi's just managing the gap, 2.6 seconds, but I don't think it's close enough for Matt to make a move. But I could be wrong as they jump into that little carousel right here. Donington Ho's up next, 2.4 seconds, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
Okay, you wouldn't short fuel this car, would you, and miss your mileage calculation? You wouldn't possibly do that, would you?
I would. I personally would. But I don't think these guys would.
Well, Juha Norlampi back to the dot and der Ho, and back to it for the last time. You see Matt Wood there in the mirror, and I think this is just a little bit of theater. honestly being played by Juha Norlampi. I don't think there's any real threat here unless he runs out of gas here at the top of the hill, and maybe he can coast to the finish. But boy, Juha Norlampi, what a drive today. Getting settled in here through this complex one last time to the start-finish line. Juha Norlampi. The Preacher. Oh, is he out of fuel? Juha. Okay, I know Juha Norlampi getting the win. That's what I'm showing on my timing and scoring.
Yeah, he was short on fuel.
See, and I thought it was theater of the mind.
Oh, down the straightaway, though. Going to go back to our 5th spot.
Yep.
And
George Lambert holding off Vascalampi here. Vascalampi driving it in hard. He gets there, but I don't think it's enough. It's too little too late. George Lambert going to hold on for a P5. Teemu Vascalampi. Let's go back to Olenek and Mukanos. Unfortunately, that is spread out, and Nick lost the draft coming down the Dottener hole. Just up in front of them, it'll be Tommy and Holen. It'll take down P7. Rob Olenek trying to hang on to P8. On the throttle, out of the turn one last time across the start-finish line. Olenek gets it. Mukanos going to have to settle for P9. Pablo Labarra Suarez comes home with a top 10 finish, Richie.
Yeah, no, we thought there was going to be a little bit of a battle there, but they separated out. Oh, well, we had a wreck here right at the end.
Kuchel, Pot Negra?
No,
is that who you saw?
I think it was, yeah, right there. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I caught that too. It was pretty violent, actually, and he was the last car in the lead lapping. Richie, he gets just a bite of the curb, and it was all it took to upset the car.
Yeah, just you just don't want to hit any curbs here. They're not meant to be driven on.
Yeah. Boy, and he just didn't get much of it. It was just a nick. He nicked it, and it sent the car flying. Tough finish for him. All right. Lemelin trying to get this finished. Looking at Keith Turner here coming in. Herner right behind Sarles. Sarles going to bring it home for a P14. Herner, P15. And Lemelin brings it in slow and across the line. But that's going to wrap things up here at the Nordschleife. Green hell in the books here. Round 2 of the Lotus 79 CTC Championship. We'll be right back after a quick break here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Welcome back to the Global SimRacing Channel here in Germany. Green hell. What a race. Round 2. Finally in the books here in the Lotus 79 CTC Championship. Let's look at how they finished. The Preacher with a big win. Starts on the pole, finishes right where he started. Great run. Made it interesting again. I think it was a little theater of the mind there at the end by Juha. But Matt Wood comes home in second. Lear Hughes with a great race. I'll tell you what, Lear really drove it today, and he'll enjoy that third place finish. Nicola Cocci, fourth for him. A great job by the Italian. George Lambert, top 5 run, and boy, George's got to be very satisfied with that, getting out of here. Timu Vascalampi wasn't close enough there at the end to get that P5, but P6 will work. Tommy Unhola, 17th with the number 14 on the car. Good run. Rob Olenek had his trouble early. Could have been out of this race, but recovers. Just a masterful drive there at the end to hold off Nick Bucanos. He'll finish 8th, and poor Nick will have to settle for 9th. Pablo Lombarez Suarez, a great top 10 run for the driver with the number 17 today.
Yeah, coming home in 11th spot be Mark Reichert. We saw him in a bunch of battles out there. Started 17th, finishing 11th, so good job for him. Right behind him will be Martin Blyes. Behind him in 13th will be Jean-Francois Boscus. We didn't mention him at all, but great job starting 21st down to up to 13th. Steve Sarlis coming home 14th. Keith Turner 15th. Charles Eric Lemelin 16th. Cucho Patanegra still, I don't know if he's still trying to finish. He had some damage to his car, and he's just trying to get it done. So he's finishing 17th. Everybody else's lap down or more will be John Stevens 18th. Adam Frazier had some an issue there, took himself out 19th, and Kendrick Taylor, Dustin Herarder had a good run, but finished in the wall 21st. Simon Schultz 22nd. Stephen Warcup 23rd. Barry West unfortunately exited early, finishing 24th. Danielle Gutsu 25th, and Mark Pickford finishing in the 26th.
Okay, I, as a fellow Italian, I can't let that stand. Daniele Gattuso, and he had a tough race day. Sorry about that, Daniele. Hey, listen, Richie, I can confirm that Cucho is on a dot in her hoe, and there is less than a minute left now in the session. I think he's going to run out of time, but what we haven't run out of time for is interviews, and I'm ready to talk to the Preacher. Juha Norlampi back with Sean Ambrose in the booth. Juha, congratulations on another awesome drive, man.
Thanks, Sean. Glad to hear you, my buddy.
And it's great to get to talk to you. I made the comment before we started the interview to the guys that it had been a while since I'd gotten to talk to the Preacher, and boy, how appropriate. You win this race. I came in to visit for a broadcast, and you put on a great show for me, man. What's the secret to this track? Is it the setup, or is it really the connection between driver and track?
Well, I guess it's both, but you have to know the track very, very well, and it's very tricky and very demanding, and setup is difficult to do here because there is lots of twisty parts, and then it's long straights, and you had to be good at every place.
Now, on the opening lap, we saw it looked like maybe you were struggling just a little bit. I know it takes some time to get the heat into the tires, but are you running a lower downforce package on your car today?
Compared to what?
Well, I mean, did you go with the very lowest setting on your wing, or did you or are you somewhere in the middle?
Somewhere there, yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I got you. All right. I got it. Now, what I do want to ask you about is you were in the batteries not included race yesterday in the FW31 Toyota. You planning on being a regular participant in that series?
Oh, let's see. I just wanted to try after last season World Championship win and try something else, and because now I'm healthy and I can drive longer races. And when I was at the chronic fatigue syndrome, I couldn't drive with that car, and now I just wanted to try it, and it was very good to drive. and I noticed that those guys had good setups there and give it a try there. And well, it was fun, but I mess up with my qualification and then with my race. But nevertheless, I'm learning, and I hope that I can race a few races also there. It's very nice, but there is a very, very tough competition and great guys. I was amazed by the winner's pace yesterday, and and I don't know how he could do that, but yes, maybe one day I will be.
All right. Well, you know, the best news out of everything you just said is that you've conquered CFS, and
Yeah.
tell you what, it just brings a smile to my face every time I think about that, especially knowing where you were and what you've had to overcome. So, listen, congratulations on another great win here in the CTC, and Merry Christmas, buddy. Enjoy it, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, Sean, and God bless to all you, and Merry Christmas.
All right, fellas, that is Juha Norlampi. Richie, you've caught up with Nicola Kochi.
Yes, I caught up with Nicola Kochi, finishing in 4th spot. Started 6th there, Nicola. You probably happy with the top 5. Had some good battles, a couple close calls. Tell us how.
Yeah, hi guys. I could say that, you know, 4th place, it's good for me. I guess that asking for a podium was a little too much with those guys, that it was very, very fast here. And I had pretty good battle, but I were running a pretty high downforce setup, and I had to drive, you know, with everything I got to push every corner for the whole race. And eventually I was able to, you know, to get some space between me and the other behind, but at that time it was too late to attack the faster guy. So I guess it's going to be good like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of those tracks where we talked about it a lot, and it's just, you just got to race the track, not worry about everybody else. But it's hard when you get in a battle with some other competitors to not overdrive the car, and you clip a curb here, clip a curb there, and all of a sudden it's a problem.
Yeah, you have to be very, very careful to do not one, even the slightest mistake. If you are kind of taking one line 3 centimeters too much, you know, in the right, you might be, you know, race ending there, because it just clips the curb. Here the curb is very, very high. You're on set of the car. There is no space to recover, and you just like slam it on the wall. And that's one of the key elements for the ring.
Yeah, a couple of the wrecks we saw was just exactly what you said. Just kind of clip the curb, and it's not like a GT3 car where you can drive over the top of it. Here, you got to stay off of them. Well, great job there, finishing 4th. And like we watched you a little bit with some of the battles you had out there. And will we see you next week?
Yeah, sure. See you there, guys. But can you tell me which one is going to be the next track?
Sean,
Next track is get my script in front of me. Yeah,
Bathurst. So
yes,
from one hard track to another.
So wow, we have the couple, the Nürburgring and the Bathurst. Wow, that's gonna be some hairy moments there.
Well, that's great. So we'll see you there next week. You have a great Christmas.
Thank you. You too, guys, and very good job as always. Bye bye.
All right, that's Nicola Kochi, and I get to talk to George Lambert, who, George, I got to be honest, man, but that was a really, really solid race. What was the secret for you as to surviving this one today?
The secret to surviving, concentration.
Yeah, a lot of it goes into this track, doesn't it?
Yeah, you have to watch all the curbs in this car, because any of them can just spit you into the arm.
Yeah, and you know what? I got to be honest. The curbs wreaked havoc on a lot of these cars today. Well, for your efforts. You come home with a P3. That's gotta feel, or I'm sorry, with a P5. That's gotta feel pretty satisfying, doesn't it?
Yes and no. It's good to finish the race, obviously. But I did some races yesterday, so I knew somewhat what to expect. I knew Matt was going to get past me because he had great pace yesterday. But I think I went backwards on my setup a bit, and Nicola and Adam, I think, went forwards on theirs because I just had no pace today.
Well, pace was good enough to survive for a P5. Listen, what was the highlight of the race for you as far as battles? Just being on track, being here in the broadcasted race. What was your favorite moment today?
It's gonna sound bad, but the undercut I did on Nicola, but then he went off the track. So I don't know if you saw that on the broadcast. He went past me. I don't know what the corner's called, up a hill anyway, and I went for the undercut. He just passed me before the corner. I got past him, and then he went off the track. So.
Yeah, we did catch that, in fact, and we were following the battle when it happened, and that it seemed like Nicola lost his teeth after that battle. The fangs kind of drew back a little bit, and he said, "Yeah, let me take a break for a couple laps here." But a lot of spots on this track make this a scary place to drive. How does the Lotus 79, in comparison to other cars, how do you think this car handles?
It sticks to the ground, I guess. Honestly, this is the only car I've ever driven the Nürburgring on in iRacing, so I haven't really got much to compare it with it.
All right. Well, listen, it was great to talk to you, George. Come back and see us again. And happy holiday and a Merry Christmas to you here, as this will be our second to last broadcast of the day, and last time we'll be on live before that great holiday here in a couple of days.
Yep, Merry Christmas to everyone watching as well.
All right, folks, and that is George Lambert. Richie, last time I'm going to get to talk to you before Christmas. Any closing thoughts here about what we just witnessed?
It was a good race. I mean, sometimes, this track being so long, it kind of separates out and it kind of gets kind of a procession, but we saw some good battles, saw some guys, unfortunately, have some bad finishes, but no, it was a great way to finish out the year.
It certainly was. And Richie, a pleasure always to work alongside you. Don't get to do it enough. Maybe you and I got to get a series at some point. But listen, folks, again, happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everyone. Catch us next here in just a little while at 1:45 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be back here live on the Global SimRacing Channel for the Absolute Beginners Race of Champions, folks. But plenty of people to... Oh, and before I thank everybody, listen, I want to give a quick shout out to the man who finished the race. Kuchel Patenegra does make the finish. Came across the line, Richie. He got it done. All right. So.
Yeah, that was highlight video to the extreme.
16-minute lap time and experience in futility, if I don't say so myself. Listen, lots of people to thank for this broadcast. As always, the people that provide the software and hardware for our broadcast. We've got them on screen for you now. Of course, we don't play any music without the help of Eric Ekholm and Junelon. They provide all of this to us that you hear every time you listen to a GSRC broadcast. See the screen for how to get a hold of their great work. I want to thank Richie, especially Richie, for working alongside me today. Again, just a tremendous resource, a wealth of information, and an open wheel ace, like I mentioned before. Amjad and Dougie for all of their hard work. If you'd like to find out more about the Global SimRacing Channel, including upcoming races, start at our website, globalsimracingchannel.com. Find us here on YouTube. You can subscribe to us if you haven't hit that button yet, please. But our upcoming events are always listed, and you can get us on social media at GSR Channel, on Twitter. We'd love to have you follow us. Facebook, hey, follow us over there too. We stream live there also. Global SimRacing Channel. We're on the gram, GSRC_Graham. Find us there. Don't forget, again, to hit that big red subscribe button before you leave us. Don't miss a moment here on the Global SimRacing Channel. The next race, and we sold our driver down the river there. It's not at Bathurst. It is actually at Oulton Park. And it's going to be on December 30th. So that's next Sunday, 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Join us then. We also have upcoming races for other series listed on your screen. Check those out. Mark them down on your calendar. Yes, folks, we will have events this week. There will be things going on and not a heavy week of live broadcasting, but watch us, pay attention to YouTube. We'll have several events that will be airing for your viewing pleasure over the holiday week. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.